Back away.
No.
Lost us, funny much.
Item 3.1. 3.1, I might raise. Request for discretionary funding, Tairua-Pāuanui Neighbourhood Support Incorporated. Can I have a move on a second, please, to receive the motion? Yep. Yes. Yep. Okay.
Okay, I'll take the report as being read. Is there any questions?
Is it 3.2 or 3.1?
Apologies, it is 3.2, we're doing a risk description fund.
Thank you.
Run checks from, sorry.
The run sheet. That's 3.2.
I'll get set up.
Got set up. Are they going to be expected to raise their own funds after the 2 years, or what's the next step?
Well, the next step will be the staff will have discussions with them about how we're going to make this work in the future.
Really, probably put it on more equitable footing of some sort.
Well, yeah, I mean, during the long-term plan process, we have that discussion about that budget that we've already got for the CCTV cameras, increasing that. So that's a discussion that the board will have.
Any further questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I support it. I support it because what it brings to the community, when there's 80% of that community that is non-resident, having some sort of control for the police to be able to follow up on an issue, and client who came in with a trailer and he drove out this trailer is really important in resolving those issues instead of just getting the insurance company a call. So I think it's a positive thing for the community.
It's ideal, because what I'm going on around. It's worked a lot.
It's worked.
And we've got to address this entire to it. So.
Yes, you do.
Anyways, I need a move in a second.
Yeah, although
Yes, also.
Through the chair, are we moving
Yeah, wait,
the whole amount or part?
I support on that.
The motion is that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the request for discretionary funding. Tairua-Pāuanui Neighbourhood Support Incorporated report dated 4th of November 2022 proves all or part. Are we all in favour of approving all? Yes.
I
Yes. So, we're all in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Carry. Thank you.
expect a similar consideration. Sorry.
Yeah. We've been having some discussions about that. We've got to get some fiction.
How long is that camera on the approach?
Oh, that's, yeah, it's, the police got to put up, that actually is done by the information centre.
Oh.
So we just, you know, I was going to say we sort of run it. Yeah, it's comes I was standing next to Matt Goodman when he was our policeman, and his phone rang one day. It was 45 seconds from the time a car that was stolen went across that bridge to the time his phone rang. And the phone call came from Australia.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's really effective.
Right, item 4.1.
Just before we move on, there's Craig, if you had the local policeman come to the meeting and explain the benefits of it, it really helps understand how it works. They can show it, it comes up on the phone, and I think it's fantastic. Sorry, carry it.
Item 4.1, the annual plan. Can I have a move from second, please? Pick it up.
Yeah.
Good.
We're just receiving it up.
Yeah, we're receiving from Dean Allen, please.
Good morning, board. So the report's titled Annual Plan, but I will also take the time just to explain about the long-term planning process and annual plan cycle process as well. So this is on behalf of Kate Lewis, our corporate performance lead, and Leslie Vivas, our policy manager, who are able to be with us today. So if you do have any questions that I'm not able to answer, I will click those questions up and ask the staff members to respond to you. We do expect Kate's back on Wednesday, so later on the week we'll get a response. So first of all, our current long-term plan was adopted late in June last year, and it took effect from July 2021. A long-term plan covers 10 years and gets reviewed after every 3 years. Year one of the long-term plan includes the first annual plan information for that year. But then in years 2 and 3 of the long-term plan, council needs to adopt an annual plan. And that gives us the ability to adjust budgets as we need to. So where those adjustments are considered significant from what was forecast in the long-term plan, then the annual plan must be consulted upon. In the first year of this long-term plan, which was 21 and 22, we had COVID lockdowns, supply chain issues, and there was a number of things that delivery of the capital program. This is having some flow-on effects as to how the program is spread out. For year 2 of the long-term plan, which is 22-23, our current financial year, the annual plan was able to reflect that uptake in capital expenditure program, and the information increased higher than what was forecasted in the original LTP as adopted. For year 3 of the long-term plan, which is our next financial year, 22-23, we will also be adopting an annual plan. And then, of course, in year 4, it starts all over again with a new long-term plan to take effect 1st of July 24. And so work has already started on the LTP for 24 because it needs to contain a lot more information in the so for the 23-24 annual plan consultation, we've identified a number of topics already. So the main one that will need to be consulted on will be the solid waste curbside pickup collection service and how it's funded. But we also expect there might be some others. So changes in the capital expenditure program and inflation adjustments. And of course, any changes to the program will be assessed against the significance of engagement policy, which will guide us on the appropriate type of engagement required. In terms of timing, the proposed budgets and options for consultation will be taken to this council in the new year. And consultation is likely to occur during March and April. And then following that, council will make decisions, and it must be adopted prior to the 1st of July 23 for the start of the financial year. Happy to take any simple questions and look forward to any detailed questions Kate will respond to later in the week.
I got a simple question.
Yep.
3 waters. So can we alter the 3 water plan now that we're working with the government in terms of transferring those assets across to its new entities? Any change to that plan, is that permitted or not?
I'll give you a more detailed response to that with Kate will later in the week. But as I understand it, and Laura may correct me, we need to just carry on planning as though we would do currently.
Yeah, so I'm talking about taking those out when we review the capital works program.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say that water project, can that be removed, or does that have to stay there because it's part of a fixed asset?
So my understanding, it needs to stay in
Right.
for this time being until the mechanism is set up for it to be taken out. Yeah.
And I think the other one that really concerns me is the revaluations. And that was a big number and how that's going to impact on rates. So one that the board will have to watch carefully.
Well, most of the 3 waters laid down on pretty
5 waters now, because in reference to 5 waters.
yeah, C and geothermal. But it's pretty contentious and sort of is a guarantee it's still going ahead.
At the moment, still going ahead.
Unless the general manager says otherwise,
At the moment, it's still going ahead.
Even if there is, the commentators say that a new government tweak it a bit, but I won't do too much to it.
That's what that's what
So it's made so many steps, and in fact, so many things need to be improved.
Well, there isn't, as far as I'm aware, a really viable alternative. So it was.
And I suppose the last one there will be the Coburg Marine Precinct. It's, I know there's a little short fund there they're trying to pick up. Do you see that project, budget still being controlled?
Yeah, through the chair, I suppose I've got Lord White here, who's the program manager of Copenhagen Marine, so she might be better placed to answer that question.
Morning, through the chair. At the moment, yes, because the budgeted there was actually the contingency for the capital works and as well as for operational works. What we're doing again is we're sort of reassessing the budgets every month because we just to make sure that we're still tracking, and we'll have another budget meeting in a month's time. We've got a project controls group made up of the chief executive and project sponsor, who will be reporting there too, that at the moment we're pretty satisfied that we're tracking home.
Thank you.
Sort of most.
So just to reflect, I'll flag back to the policy team that the impact of free orders will be a focus for LCP and discussions moving forward, and revaluations being a major concern.
The solid waste, the introduction of these wheelie bins. There's been an email circulating at Seagull Centre. We talked about one in Tairua, we talked about our RFS. Having a similar sort of facility, nothing RTS, nothing's happened. You know, pretty Anders getting it, there's up and running. Are we anywhere down the road on this, getting something similar in home? Location, well, it's a location, that's the problem.
Yeah, just for the chair, I wouldn't have the background information. Eileen and our solid waste team maybe would do. So it might be something that Eileen can follow up on. We might be able to get you a briefing on the RTS side and some of the thinking that's been done for future networking, something like that.
Sort of went hand in hand with the men's shed. Whilst that's been sort of resolved at the moment. That they're in a position where they can get involved with it. Just to help touch and we need it, yeah, or we need it somewhere. It needs to be getting somewhere, don't let us forget it. Need to
Go into that long-term plan.
all right. Are there any other questions for Dean? Dean McGrath? If not, I'll put the motion that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the 2023-24 annual plan report dated 30 October 22. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed, carried. Item 5.1, Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board action schedule. Can I have a move and a second?
Yeah.
Dave? Yes, Dave. Or Eileen, who's going first?
I'm playing.
Like this week, if we've got any questions? No.
Sure one.
Take away home.
Yeah.
Oh. They're getting on with it.
So property have been, with them. about the renovations that need to be done.
That's where advice.
Do you know if they've done what they need to do?
At this stage, no. I understand from property that they have.
I'd like to speak, I support, I think this idea we're going to get 15 people to sign up to make an incorporated society so they can use a hall that's paid for by the council and appreciated by the rates of the council. It's a bureaucracy gone nuts. They should just have a hall committee and use the hall, really, when you think about it. Yeah, that's what it's there for, it's there to be used. No one uses it, we'll end up like we have the budget, spending another 50 grand looking after it, so. It seems stupid that we have to go through all this process to incorporate a society for people to use a community asset. So I just think it's something we need to put down and discuss, detail and the new board and decide whether is it the right way.
For the chair.
Yeah.
That she has been raised to.
It is a district wide review and not be sort of when the next sort of couple of meetings are.
Yeah.
Dan, do you know if there's any more time?
I don't have any further timeframe, but we can follow up and debate that one.
We need to have a discussion down the line for sure. You know,
Yeah.
This is in the
Tairua,
Coles.
Oak-Tree,
Well, I think the Coles involved with it. This has been going on for a good while. Rents, charges. We're no further advanced.
well, often people are fundraising so they can use the hall.
Yeah.
You know, the hall's here to be used to do what they want to do. Use it, so it's, it needs a discussion.
I don't know how the charges got lumber on the license of the Tairua.
Or it's the lease agreement.
It's the lease agreement.
Yeah, so somehow it's got out of,
And some don't have lease agreements. But it needs, but and they keep telling us it's going to be tidied up, but nothing seems to be happening in the short term.
you penalise one. You know,
Well, the big halls, they make sense because they have got a system that they work like Clonmactar and Thames. But you've got to ask these smaller halls, you know, you don't need that bureaucracy around them, they're there to be used. The more they use, the better, really. Just have an organising committee that organises the bookings and let them. Just can't see
Well,
why.
that's what we've got at home. They try to all get all committees.
Yeah.
They have to become cool.
they're still.
But they don't need to incorporate the side into it. So,
Well,
you know,
they are.
some of that reports back to the community board and just the structure.
They got lumbered with about 7 grand for the charges.
Yeah, they get rated and they get all
Yeah,
sorts.
so that's going to out of hand.
Right.
And if we pay depreciation on the hall for the future, if we pay rating for the hall to look after it, there's just things that we money go around for me.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I don't know how sort of got to that. We shouldn't be charging the rates, because it's a community organisation.
Yeah.
Pay,
And they want to pay rent, pay the $350 everyone else pays,
yeah, exactly right.
and that's it.
Oh, I've been beating this drum for a while.
Yeah, no, it's just, I think, thanks,
Anyway, something to work on.
no, real bad.
Yeah, so as Esther says, it's been addressed with the CEO, so it will be stuff.
Everybody in town uses it at one stage or another. So,
Encourages those groups to come and use it, doesn't it?
That Tairua hall is probably as busy as any hall. It's used every day.
Yeah. Which is good.
Okay, any further questions? Opinions? I'll put the motion that the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board receives the Tairua-Pāuanui Community Board action schedule. Report dated 26th of October 2022. All in favour?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. That's the end of our first meeting. We're going to have some goodies. Money time.
It's here.
I declare the meeting closed, and I thank you for your attention and attendance.